to the ball game. Take me.
Because this is your community team, and I'll explain all of that soon. So thank you. Look at this. This is unbelievable. And Jamestown Tarp Skunks is the most recent iteration of organized baseball in Jamestown. And in the current era, it goes back to 1939, and that was in Celeron Park. It then found its way to Allen Park in 1940, and that was with the promise of building this facility in 1941, which was done by the community. And so with that, what is now Diethrick Park found its first games in 1941, and we've had more or less continuous high-end organized baseball in Jamestown. And most recently, we were affiliated with a variety of major league teams through all of our leagues, and this has been the Tigers and the Red Sox and the Dodgers and the Expos and the Pirates, and many of you remember some of the players who found their way through here, such as Randy Johnson, Giancarlo, we knew him as Mike Stanton, and Nellie Fox, all found their way playing on this field, of which you'll see the Jamestown Tarp Skunks. Now, the reason Randy wants me to talk a little bit about was really sort of a strange set of circumstances that got us here today. I see Mayor Parisi is here, and he was intimately involved, as he has been, from many, many aspects of the iterations of baseball here. But it was in 2018, and the mayor, you'll have to correct me if I get a date wrong or so. 2018, actually going back to 2014, was our last affiliated relationship. That was with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and it was owned by the Rich Product folks, and they had an opportunity to move their way to Morgantown, West Virginia, to still be in the New York Penn League. They did so graciously, and we were the beneficiaries of that. Then a lot of activity occurred, and the mayor was in the middle of all of that to provide a team that came here to fill this void in a couple of different leagues. But basically, the first ownership was a group headed by Kevin Romberg, who played with the Cleveland Indians. And then that group sold it to a group out of Milwaukee, Mike Zimmerman, who owned it through 2018, and the first championship league team in many, many years, headed by manager Barone. 2018, we win. The mayor actually gets a ring. Hopefully he would bring it sometime to show us. You never got the ring?
They left before they could give it to me.
Mayor, bad negotiating. And so we win the championship. We win the championship. And the mayor gets a call from Mr. Zimmerman, the millionaire who owned many franchises, and said he wanted to have all of his teams to be in the Midwest. Now, you may have it, you don't need a geography lesson to know that Jamestown, New York is not in the Midwest. So he was going to sell the team, and there was a good chance that team would then leave the league and we would be empty. So there was a little bit of panic conversation going on between the mayor and myself, because the mayor said, "Greg, what are you going to do about it?" I said, "What am I going to do about it? I don't know that I'm going to do anything about it." So we talked and concocted a plan, the mayor, where we would suggest to this millionaire that he gives the franchise. Why would anybody give a franchise away? Because of guilt. Guilt is an important part of this whole conversation with the Jamestown Tarp Skunks. If you feel you're leaving a community after you won a championship, you might feel guilty. So the mayor played the card. 2 weeks later, he calls me and says, "Your wish is his command. If you create a community group, he'll give you the franchise." I said, "I'm not sure I said all of that I would do all that." So anyways, the gauntlet was tossed by the mayor to me. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I must tell you that I never thought we would be involved in an ownership structure we reached out to well over 50 people in this community, and they were willing to pony up, perhaps no pun intended, money to continue a team here in Jamestown, to continue the legacy of now it's over 80 years. So Jamestown Community Baseball was formed. It generally is a community activity, and not only did many people become investors, but many people raised their hands to assist. And I gotta tell you, at the top of the list is the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame, and the top of that list, of course, is Randy Anderson. I mean, Randy is an unbelievable trooper. I say that with great deal. I mean, he's on the board, intimately involved. You come to any game, he's on the field, he knows the players. And if you want to really actually know what's going on, ask Randy. I'm just filling in for him. So we created this in 2019. We set up the entity. 2020, of course, was the pandemic. No games. 2021, it was still under restrictions as to whether we could play with 30%, 50%. I mean, we really, our timing could not have been better to not play baseball. So the first 2 years, it was that kind of struggle, but the community continued to support us financially and otherwise. And so we started playing ball in 2022, and full season, and we now are in our third full season. And I got to tell you, the community has really stepped forward. Any indices that we had comparing back to the Jammers days, we have doubled attendance, average attendance, we've doubled merchandise, we kind of doubled everything. So all of you folks, and I look around, it's everybody in some form or fashion has been intimately involved in the Jamestown Community Baseball team. So tonight you're going to see a bunch of wonderful collegians, they're Division 1, 2, and 3, who will be entertaining you tonight. Now, to answer the question, what's a tarp skunk? It's really kind of a funny backstory, because we were the Jammers. When we took over, we were the Jamestown Jammers. I honestly, and Russ Diethrick and others, kind of liked the alliteration, Jamestown Jammers. Jamestown, that's nice. Well, we had a new owner, or rather we had a new ownership, and we had a new general manager, and he thought otherwise. Let's turn the page. That's all nice. Let's turn that into history. So one day, this was probably when we thought we'd look for a new name, the grounds crew person came in and said, we got to check on the tarp. The city of Jamestown owned tarp. It's all ripped. And our general manager, Frank Fanning, at the time said, hey, great, we'll roll it out and see how bad it really is. He said, no way. There's no way am I going to roll out the tarp, which is on a cylinder. You'll see that. We can roll it out, and so we would have it during the winter. Hibernating there are skunks. When you roll a cylinder and you're a skunk inside, guess what? You're not happy. You're not happy. And if you're not happy, guess what happens? Emission. And guess where it goes? Out the tube. And through prior experience, the grounds crew keeper said, I'm not doing that. And it's going to require some other way to make that a reality. So the general manager, listening to this problem of how to roll out the tarp, didn't really hear that at all. All he heard was skunks in a tarp. Skunks in a tarp. And he said, oh, what if we named this thing Tarp Skunks? I remember Randy will confirm this. When he saw at the board meeting, he's rolling this thing out. And I got to tell you, I've never seen somebody's eyes roll as quickly. What, hell is a tarp skunk? But he made a case. Next thing you know, we got the logo. Next thing you know, it's on a lot of hats. Next thing you know, it's become one of the hottest merchandise items there is. This went off the charts. Tarp skunks. We were on a lot of national programs. Guys were wearing the hats. It was really cool. And it continues to be cool. And so you'll see some of that, and verify that what I was just saying, in both English and Spanish, by the way, of how that tarp skunk became a reality. Now the postscript, and this is really why the IDA, which is supporting tonight, has supported us so as a tourism destination, the actual teams. But interestingly enough, the tarp, the actual tarp that goes on, was invented in the 1926, late 20s, by a guy named Howard Emke. Howard Emke, a name for all you Sports Hall of Famers, one of in the initial induction class, Silver Creek. When he got done, what he did was develop patent tarp in Philadelphia. So we've got actual advertising to do that. So we have, you'll see on the patch of the actual uniforms, is this thing that talks about acknowledging Howard Emke and the patent for the tarp, which is now, of course, universal. So we have a connection not only from a crazy name like Tarp Skunks, but also the tarp as well. Jamestown Tarp Skunks are in the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League, which has teams that run from literally Jamestown, New York in the west, all the way out to Saugerties, I believe, is the furthest part east. There are two divisions, east and west. We're in the west, and we are in the process of fighting our way, make sure that we're in the playoffs, which start at the end of July. So that's a little bit about the Tarp Skunk. That's the history, and it's really community-based, which has always been the root of it all. But now, in reality, the ownership of it is community. So, with that, Randy, I'll stop. Thank you very much.
Mayor Sam, did I get most of it right? Perfect. Thank you, Mayor, for
Well done, Greg. Well done.
baseball in our community during your 20 years of.
That's all, folks.